CBS Sports HQ presented by Geico. We are talking fantasy football right now, taking a look at the wide receiver rankings according to Fantasy Football today. But we are going to question Jamey Eisenberg because he might not have CeeDee Lamb as his. So is this like a consensus?
These are our consensus rankings.
Your consensus rankings.
Yes.
Okay, that is why we have CeeDee Lamb coming in at number 1, Tyreek Hill coming in at number 2, Jamar Chase at number 3. We're going to go through tiers for the wide receivers. Kind of explain to us first before we get into these players, like how much differentiation is that, if that's a word, there is between the tiers?
Between the tiers themselves?
Yeah.
I like to group my tiers based on how I would rank them based on a round. So these are the round 1 wide receivers in round 1, round 2, tier 2, et cetera, kind of go through that way.
Okay, so your consensus rankings has CeeDee Lamb over Tyreek Hill. You don't necessarily agree with that.
No, I mean, look, when you start to nitpick the guys at the top, there's got to be something that differentiates them between one and the next. And for Tyreek Hill, he was amazing last year, just slightly behind CeeDee Lamb. Lamb's got a holdout right now, so we want to see him in camp and getting everything done and getting that contract situation settled. There's also a body of work. Tyreek Hill, while he is 30, his resume is a little bit more extensive. And I think just looking at the last 2 years with what he did with Miami, you can feel a little bit more comfortable than just the CeeDee Lamb stretch of games from his bye week on, basically week 8 on. So I love CeeDee Lamb. He was my number 1 wide receiver for the majority of the offseason. But again, they were back-to-back 1 and 1A. And so with Tyreek Hill ready to go, CeeDee Lamb not. If I'm drafting today, I'm taking Tyreek Hill.
Looking at your tier 1 right now, where do you suggest taking Justin Jefferson, especially now with Sam Darnold at quarterback and no other options there?
So for people that were expecting J.J. McCarthy
eventually
to rescue Justin Jefferson,
he was going to be the godsend.
Like I don't understand that. We all knew that Sam Darnold was going to start the first week or several weeks, and then maybe McCarthy would take over. I didn't really expect to see a huge upgrade at the quarterback spot for this year alone. So Jefferson was always going to be my wide receiver 3. If Chase gets his situation settled, then maybe I could see that, him leapfrogging Jefferson. But right now, it's McCaffrey's the first overall player, Tyreek Hill number 2, CeeDee Lamb 3. Then it goes 2 running backs and then Justin Jefferson. So he's my 3rd receiver, and you're taking him in the first 7 picks.
When do you start targeting those tier 2 guys?
So the tier 2 guys come in the round 2, back into round 1, tier 2 range. So the cutoff is A.J. Brown. Garrett Wilson for me is a round 1 pick, but he's a guy that you could see going on the swing early in round 2. Puka Nacua was a round 1 pick before the knee injury, but he slides into early round 2. Marvin Harris and Drake London come right off the board right after them. These guys in tier 3 just kind of piggyback and marry them together. You could see them go in the round 2 range depending on if it's a very heavy wide receiver draft. But I think you look at the guys basically through, for me at least, Drake London, that's where the cutoff is. Those are definite round 2 wide receivers.
Okay, looking at that tier 3, you see at number 29 over here, Deebo Samuel. How does the outlook for him change depending on what happens with Ayuk?
So this is where he is for me with Ayuk on the team.
Okay.
If Ayuk is off the team, he jumps into easy tier 2 and probably right behind Garrett Wilson. So I would have him as a top 10 wide receiver. He's any of these guys. If Deebo misses time, Ayuk's numbers pop. George Kittle gets a boost with one of those 2 guys missing. But if there is no Ayuk, the targets will be funneled in Deebo Samuel's direction. And the thing that makes him an added bonus for fantasy managers, he's going to get carries. And Christian McCaffrey, 28 years old, 400 total carries last year, total touches last year, excuse me. If he misses any time, Deebo Samuel's numbers just get that much better. So he's got superstar potential across the board. We've seen it. You just have to, really get excited even more if there is no Ayuk on the team.
A lot of people are excited about the Texans and what they could potentially do with C.J. Stroud. You also have a very busy, very crowded wide receiver room with guys like Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell. First of all, I have to ask you a personal question.
Yes.
Jacqueline wanted us to know if you approved of her taking Tank Dell in the 4th round.
If he was the highest ranked receiver, that's a little too soon for me. He's more of a round 5, 6 pick. But look, the name is awesome. I mean, you have the name Tank. That's hard to overlook.
Okay, we're going to give it like a C pick. A C pick. Yeah, Dell's pretty good.
Thanks.
So how do you approach the Texans?
I like Nico Collins first, Tank Dell second, Stephon Diggs third. I'm an ageist, if you haven't heard me say that before. So the older receivers, older players, I tend to shy away from. Stephon Diggs is 29, going to be 30. Nico Collins was amazing last year, popped in his 3rd season, and Tank Dell, coming off of the broken leg, should get back to form, was awesome before he went down. So those are my 2 favorite Texans receivers. So Nico Collins goes late round 2, early round 3 for me. Tank Dell goes in that 5, 6 range. Stephon Diggs not far behind. They're basically back-to-back, but I like Dell better than Diggs because Dell's just an awesome name.
So give her a grade. Like, what would you give her? Like a C?
For taking him that early?
Yeah.
B-, but it depends on which receiver's
that's pretty good.
I'm a receiver guy too, so receivers getting pushed up don't scare me.
If you take a look at this list right here, tier 4 is just loaded with veteran wide receivers. You just said you're an ageist, so
Yes.
What's your take on it?
So depending on who you ask, some people still like Devontae Adams as a tier 2 guy or a round 2 guy. Some people like Mike Evans still as in that same range. They're both 31 years old. Evans was awesome last year. He really didn't show any signs of decline. Adams did. 2 years ago, he was a 19-point per game scorer. Last year, a 15-point per game scorer. You don't want to see that slide continue. And Cooper Kupp is the one I feel the most confident in because Puka's banged up, because of his offense. Healthy offseason so far, so that's good.
You just threw Malik Nabers in there for fun?
So that's where he's creeping up to. He's
Okay.
creeping up to some Hall of Fame caliber guys, and that's why he's, sort of the difference in that tier, the younger guy. DK Metcalf, obviously not that old either, but Malik Nabers has so much upside, and his quarterback is terrible. Look,
I was about to say, so how do we feel about Malik Nabers, who you already have in tier 4 with all those vets, with Daniel Jones?
Yeah, because 130 plus targets, while ugly in some cases, are still 130 targets. So volume matters. You saw it in the game against the Falcons, the preseason game. Daniel Jones was miserable, but in a short period of time, 4 catches, 54 yards for Nabers. He's going to be a significant difference maker. I want those type of players on my team.
And he is your top rookie wide receiver for now.
No, Marvin Harrison is.
Okay.
He's in a little bit better spot because of his quarterback, but he's the second highest rated rookie receiver. Second highest rated rookie. The 2 top rookies for me are both Harrison and Nabers.
This is where our producer will get on our ear and say something.
Oh, well, I'm going to say something now. I want to ask about Rashee Rice. So right now, tier 5, but constantly moving up. What are you seeing there?
He has been. I mean, the closer we get to week 1, the less we hear about a suspension. And, so that was always the key for him, is he going to get suspended? And so forget about the off-field stuff, what he does as a player. He was amazing last year. You guys were talking about Taylor Swift singing about Travis Kelce's teammates. Rashee Rice was a big part of their postseason run, and he's going to be a big part of their chance for a three-peat. So Marquise Brown banged up right now. Rice's value continues to climb, and somebody that I would take in round 4 at this point.
Jamey, we appreciate it. What do you guys got going on?
So much nicer to Jamey than you are to like Chip Patterson and
Because
Tom
Jamey's
Fornelli.
nice.
Okay, I'm just
And
saying.
I still need help with my team.
Okay.
We haven't even figured out what order we're drafting in yet.
Is Jack your commissioner?
No, and so he's not taking responsibility for it, but he still hasn't figured out what order his league is drafting in.
Gotcha.
Or how.
A lot of
You have a
shady commissioners.
suggestion?
A lot of shady commissioners in that league.
Are
Mayron,
shady.
shady. Yeah, it's all shady.
Yeah, we got some shady people over here. Who's not shady? The guys on Fantasy Football Today.